free will is probably one of the most classic and best defenses of the existence of God in light of evil and suffering. Free will offers us the ability to say that, well, no, there's suffering here, but it's our fault, and the reason God allows us to do that is because it makes the world, a better place, or it's a better kind of good to have people who are free to make bad choices. Well, ICT in Plantinga does a very good job of recognizing one of the best objections to this, which is that, well, it seems like God could have given us free will, but just, bracketed off all those kind of wills that we might have that would lead to the kind of horrible evil that we have in the world. Plantinga there's a sophisticated answer to that, namely that something like, well, then that free will wouldn't really be free, right? It wouldn't be truly free. He has the trans world, evil or something, like no matter what world you're in, as long as you've got free will, you're going to have something along the lines of what you get here. I'm not sure I find that to be a compelling response. God created human beings in such a way that we don't have the choice to breathe underwater, right? That's not a choice I can make. Now with technology, yeah, we can do things like fly and go underwater and whatnot. But I don't have the capacity. I don't have a particular capacity in my existence to go breathe underwater, or I don't have the capacity to be in two places at once. Right? As a human being, that's not something that's given to me. It's not that I'm not free. I'm free. I just don't have that capacity. And doesn't it seem like God could have created people without the capacity to, say, commit horrible atrocities? And it's not that hard for us to imagine something like that, especially now that we have movies and whatnot about artificial intelligence, right? Where there's like the 3 laws of robots in that movie I, Robot, where they're not it's based on a story or book by Asimov, I think, where robots aren't allowed to do this, that, and the other thing. And one of the things that they're not allowed to do is harm people, right? Like, wouldn't it be? It seems like it would be possible for a robot to be very free, and yet not have the capacity to harm or allow human beings to be harmed. That seems like something you could build into. Now, maybe not. Maybe that's not the case, and maybe we just don't have a sophisticated enough view of what it is to be free and to have free will that we can understand that. But it certainly seems like we can imagine a world like that. It seems like we can imagine a world where you still do things like create projects, right? So there are people who go about in a city and they buy and sell and they create, right? But in the midst of that, everybody's not hurting each other, right? We can imagine that. We can imagine a world like that. We've experienced small examples of that in our own lives. And what if it was like that everywhere, always? And so everything's good, and it's just always getting better, right? And so it just and it's like that. That's what human life and human culture is like, which incidentally is kind of what we think heaven is supposed to be like, right? Where if you imagine life with God, it's an ever increasing union with the divine, an ever increasing love and beauty, an ever increasing depth of joy that just goes on forever, right? Why is it that we don't have that now? We know it's possible, right? Because it's not like when we get to heaven we're not free anymore, right? It seems like when we get to heaven we'll still have free will. It's just that we will be different, such that we're we're freely choosing or freely being drawn into, or however you want to describe it, into a life of ever greater, ever more goodness, ever more joy, ever more love, ever more peace, etc., etc. And so you have to ask, if we already think that the next life, or heaven, or the new heavens and new earth is going to be like that, then then why isn't it like that now? And yeah, I'm not sure that the free will defense has an answer for that.